I won't make it easy for you now. You got 2 minutes of my time.
Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Lambert and today I'm here just sharing a very quick tip for you guys. This happens to me often where you get going and you do your brows and suddenly it's looking a little dark or maybe a little warm and you're like, what is going on? So you have to get going out the door. You don't have time to redo that whole brow. What do? And so I'm going to share this with you. Hopefully it works well for you as it does for me. It really brings them around in a hurry. So I'm going to show you the difference. I did this brow with my toning technique. This brow I did not yet, so I'm going to show you on that guy. But just to show you the difference in, that one's a little warm for me, and some people might like that. I prefer a cooler brow for my skin. And a lot of people might find this an issue if they are a light foundation kind of person, a little bit of a naturalist. I'm kind of doing a little bit of the sporty thing today, so I don't really have foundation on. I just have a bit of lip balm, a little touch of mascara, the brows. I always do my brows regardless because I don't really have any. And if you have that issue out there, it just feels kind of weird to not have something in your brows. And so if you overdo it, if you just go just a little bit too far past that point, it is like, brows, like holy brows. You're coming for days and everyone's like, whoa, brows, nice brows, nice. And you're like, what? And you look in the mirror and you're like, whoa. Especially if you get outside. If you don't have good lighting when you do your brows, you get outside and you're like into that car and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? And then you can't fix it. So this is gonna be your solution. I am using Limelife by Eyeshadows to do this. Would it work with other shadows? I'm not sure. You can give it a try and see. These are high pigment, so you're gonna wanna make sure that whatever shadows you use are a professional type grade. And first thing I would do is, so I've completed that brow, and I've actually been doing a new hybrid brow technique with an old one of mine and a new. I'll have to share that one. It takes me like literally maybe 8 minutes for both brows. It's like really fast. Okay, so you have to decide for yourself, is your brow too warm? So we're gonna start with too warm. Yes, it is. What do we do to cool it? So if you have lighter brows or if you want your brows to be lighter, what you're gonna do is use a shade like shade number 38, which is basically a creamy white. And so I use brush number 9. It is just shaped perfectly right. And you just go in dry and you just go along your brow like this. So this will tone them and this will lighten them. So that should do it, and if you need to go over it again, you certainly can, and it will just keep lightening them. Now, if you tell yourself, oh my God, they're too cool, and I'm a honey blonde, or even like a brown with more of the warm tones, and you want to switch to a little bit more of, you want to take it from cool to warm, what you're going to do is use a shade that has a little bit of a yellow tint to it, and this is shade 4. If you are sort of to the darker hair spectrum, like you're almost black, that dark, you might want to use, this one is shade number 26, and it is just a little bit darker and it is warm. It will definitely have the same effect. So basically you just go in, same idea, and now you're going to see my brow warm back up, but in a light way. And especially if you had no brow powder in there yet, this will go much warmer yet. The shade number 26 is going to be probably your most warming shade. So if you really need to take it up a notch, that's gonna be your guy. If it's like, oh God, it's not coming around, that will be the one. Now, this point, once you're done that's when you can kind of do your brows. So if it's a little bit chalky looking, don't worry, because as soon as you put your brow product in, it's going to alleviate some of that concern you may have. It will pull out your brow hairs just ever so slightly. And this is the light brow gel from Limelife. If you use other products, Benefit Brow has some really good ones. I mean, I like this one the most. Okay, so now, so it's looking really fantastic and you're happy. You can get out that door and don't have to worry about the dark brows. Okay, unless you're that person, you're like, oh no, your tip did not work. I'm like like far and gone. I'm in like the abyss of dark brows. So what you can do at that point, take the same brush and use water for this technique. This is just water in here. Wet your brush, go into it, tap it off, and then you are gonna go back through that brow. So if you want your brows to be almost blonde, that's gonna do it. The same thing works for your other shades. The darker shades may go just a tad bit darker. Actually, I'll just show you. And if you're somewhere in between, you can actually mix the two, which I do. So there, I pulled it back into that just ever so slightly warmer tone. And I'm gonna show you the sand because you know what? It's easier to see the demo to decide if that's for you or not. See the difference? It's quite a bit warmer, and in real life it is quite warm. And again, that's over top of the white powders already, so if you never did that before, it's going to go much warmer. Now, some people out there are like, well, why don't you use the time setter to do this trick? And to be honest, sometimes I find the time setter, and it hasn't happened every time, but it's happened enough times that I have a concern not to do it, just to be careful. But it will start to erase your brow. So you spray your brush, you dip, and as you're going along, if you happen to spray just a little bit too much, you'll find that as you're going, you're also deleting part of your brow. Then you're gonna have to pencil it back, and then you're gonna have to start over, and then you're gonna end up wasting more time. So I find if you just do water, because it's a pure pigment, you really don't need a lot of extra sticking power because it's gonna pick up a lot of product as a rule. And then when you're done, then spray your time setter to, and if you've never even heard of these products before, this is Limelife by Alcone's line of professional products. And time setter is kind of like the lock-in-place product that will set everything. It will give it a nice satin finish, sometimes a bit glowy depending on your skin type, and it will hold it to your skin a lot longer. It cools the skin surface as the day goes on. It has some cool technology in there, but it will help your body not produce excess oil or sweat that will break through and break down the product a little faster. So at that point, I would do like a spritz. And so say you don't really have any foundation on like myself, I just go over top my eyes. I just hold them closed just to let them dry. And then your brow will be waterproof for the day. You'll be good to go. I now have a warm brow and a cool brow, so thankfully I don't have too far to go. I hope this tip was good for you, and I'm going to be posting more as we go. I have a ton of different little tips that I think about all the time, that I use all the time, and then I want to save it for a video, and then I just never get to it because sometimes the video doesn't fit. So that's why I'm going to start getting into these little tips that will hopefully help to expedite some of the pain in the butt with makeup application in your life. And make sure you guys subscribe so that you can stay up to date as I post those. Also, please give me a like if this was good for you, because that's the only way I can figure that out. Feedback is always appreciated. Thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you in the next video.